Hey guys, I'm going to be discussing Kozmo with this video. In my opinion, Kozmo started out as a really cool archetype because it was just based off of Star Wars and the Wizard of Oz, and I'm a big Star Wars fan, so I liked the deck a lot. And it was only Forerunner, Good Witch, Farm Girl, and Slip Rider, I believe. And so the deck was kind of slow, so people played more traps and, negation-based spells like the Solemns because Forerunner could gain you back to life that you lost. And people also played artifacts, so you can go to rank 5s with Slip Rider and things like that. And so the deck was a little bit slower and a little bit underwhelming because they couldn't do a ton, and their main win con was Forerunner, who was just a 28 untargetable. Just a 28 untargetable, but seriously, it wasn't great. It was still competitive, but it wasn't topping everything. And then with the next set came Wicked Witch and Dark Destroyer, and I believe Strawman, and maybe Dogfighter and Delta Shuttle. Yeah, I think that was what came out. And the deck had a totally different face because the Dark attribute was added and Dark Destroyer was awesome. And it became purely OTK, Turbo Farm Girl and Dark Destroyer to just crank out creatures. Like, it was absolutely insane. And it will put a lot of damage on board. And since you couldn't target the ships, you could do that fairly easily. And I liked the deck when it was at the point I did. It was kind of unfair, and you were able to OTK out of nowhere, but that's what the deck was meant to do. It was meant to OTK with the release of Dark Destroyer, and so I liked it at that point still. And then they released Tin Can and I believe Sword Troopers and the Kozmo Light Sword and Cosmojo, and they meant to make the deck a little bit more graveyard based with things like. And they did. There was a Tin Can Turbo build that I really liked with Telekinetic Power Well and Triple Reasoning. And so you could just summon out Tin Can, set up your discard plays with Call of the Haunted, and that's still a thing in the deck today. And then you could just summon Dark Destroyer on your opponent's turn off of Call of the Haunted and pop stuff, and it was really cool. And it was a little bit more of a turbo-ish build. But there wasn't a really big graveyard aspect yet because it was just there wasn't a lot of cards to enable that. Well, the next bunch of cards that come out after that were the more dark control cards. There was Dark Eclipser and Dark Planet and Dark Lady, and then a couple of others that weren't really mentionable like Scaredy Lion and Landwalker. But I think after they released Dark Planet and Dark Lady alongside Fire King Island, the ceiling of the deck totally just topped and just blew everything off, because all you have to do is have Fire King Island, a pilot, and a ship in hand, and you can make this incredibly controlling board turn one of Dark Lady, Cyber Dragon Infinity, Gachi, and maybe like a Dark Destroyer to finish it off, and that was your turn one board. Not to mention if they're able to get Dark Planet off to negate spells. There's enough aggressive potential in Kozmo that I don't think they should have added this much control into the archetype. I don't think it's good. I really don't. I like the deck, don't get me wrong, but I just feel as if there's too much control on, because after they get done negating everything that you own, they just summon a lot of big ships and attack you for a game, which is what they were meant to do in the first place, but there's still the aspect that they can stop what you're trying to do and to ensure the OTK. I know this sounds weird, like that's what aggro decks do and that's what they should be able to do, but they should be in the form of spells and traps, like Royal Decree. It shouldn't be on legs, because that not only does that add control, but that adds damage to the board too, and that can easily float out due to your pilots and your ships exploding off of Fire King Island. And I just feel as if the archetype just kind of went off. It was going in a straight path, and it kind of curved with Dark Destroyer and things, and it just veered right after Fire King Island came out and took an entirely different direction. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like variety in decks, but I just feel as if it's a very potent archetype now with Fire King Island, and I'm not really sure how to feel about it. I do like the archetype, but Fire King Island is kind of breaking it, and I think the archetype should be hit a little bit more now, because all they got was a slap on the wrist with a semi-limited E-Telly and reasoning to 1, maybe. That's all they got. And I just being able to pump out Cyber Dragon Infinity turn 1 alongside Monster Negation and an untargetable 3K beat stick, all in the same field. Not to mention Gachi that can protect and add attack and defense. I don't think that should be okay. And I think the deck has gotten to a point where it's kind of crazy. So, to summarize, I do like the deck. I love Kozmo. I think it's a really cool archetype, at least aesthetically speaking, and I do like the mechanic of banishing and summoning the ships. But it's getting a little bit broken now with Fire King Island, and I don't think the ships should have been able to float from anywhere. Maybe from the field, if they get destroyed from the field and sent to there, but just being destroyed from the hand and doing it on your own I don't think that's okay. Because Fire King Island is what enabled all these crazy combos. So that's my opinion of the Kozmo archetype. Leave your guys' opinions down in the comment section below, and I will see you dudes in the next video.